Daryl Hanukkah will now lead the Boy and Girl Scouts in the presentation of some of our historic flags of the United States. Darryl?
Thank you. First, I'd like to recognize and thank the town of Clifton Forge and the VFW for allowing us to come here today and celebrate and honor our flag for Flag Day. Honoring our country, the United States of America, and the flag are both central parts of the program for the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts of America. And I'm not sure everyone's aware, but on holidays, you'll notice that we have flags here in Clifton Forge, and that's something that the Boy Scouts, we do on all the major holidays, is we'll put flags out within our town. So it's very important for us in the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts. I'd like to begin today talking about our first flag. It's called the Sons of Liberty flag. The Sons of Liberty were a group of patriots that originated in the pre-independence North American colonies. The group was focused to protect the rights of colonists and to take to the streets against the abuses of the British government. The Boston Tea Party was probably one of their activities. There was no membership list, but the group came together should the need arise. In the mid-1760s, the first flag, 9 vertical stripes alternating red and white stripes, but was soon modified to 13 horizontal as shown here. This flag was to become the basis for a number of future patriotic flags. But how could a secret organization have a flag? But they did. Please post the colors. Our next flag is the Bunker Hill flag. After the Lexington and Concord attack by the British on April the 19th, 1775, the local militias from Massachusetts and neighboring states established a siege around Boston. On 17 June, the only conflict during the siege was the Battle of Bunker Hill. This is the Bunker Hill flag. Notice the pine tree on the flag. The pine tree notes the hatred of the New England colonists to the king's regulation that all large white pines were the property of the king to be used for his masts on British naval ships. Please post the colors. On June 14, 1775, George Washington, designated to serve in the command of all colonial forces along with all militias involved in the Revolution. Since all of his training was with the British, so he created his own command flag as practiced by the British. It was a blue field with 13 white stars. The stars were 6-pointed. From that time forward, it was always flown where he was located. It was first used at the Siege of Boston after he arrived in early July. Please post the George Washington flag. Our next flag is the Grand Union or Colonial Colors flag. As colonial forces took on a national aspect, it became necessary to have a national flag. Out of the situation came the Grand Union or Cambridge flag, with this field of 13 alternate red and white stripes, which symbolize the union of all the 13 colonies, and the king's colors in the canton. While the flag was only half American, it expressed the thought of the time and political situation in the colonies, which still acknowledged their allegiance to Great Britain. The colonists wanted only justice and their rights as Englishmen. They were determined to secure them and to fight for them if only necessary. The Grand Union flag was raised at Cambridge on January 2nd, 1776 by General George Washington and was giving a 13-gun salute. It continued to be the flag of the Revolution until the adoption of the Stars and Stripes flag by the Act of Congress, 14th June 1777, the birthday of the American flag. Please post the Grand Union flag. June 14, 1777, the Continental Congress passed the first Flag Act. Resolved that the flag of the United States be made of 13 stripes, alternate red and white, that the Union be 13 stars, white in a blue field representing a new constellation. Note, no shade, no number of points on the stars, and no star positioning. Please move the flag forward. Every country has its myths, and the United States of America has its share. According to the legend, George Washington himself approached Elizabeth Ross in the spring of 1777 and asked her to create from a sketch he drew. Then she sued the first flag for the new country. However, the story resides on shaky ground. For one thing, there was no record of this incident discussed in any official record, only anecdotal documents of the time. In fact, this was not only told until 94 years after the event took place by one of Betsy Ross's grandsons. So, what is the true origin of this flag? It is believed that Francis Hopkinson, a congressman from New Jersey and patriot, was the designer of the flag. In fact, journalists of the Continental Congress show that he actually designed the flag. Please post the Betsy Ross flag. Our next flag is the Cowpens flag. A second 13th star is represented, but the 12 stars in the circle and one in the center. It was used at the Battle of Cowpens in South Carolina on January 1781 in a prelude to Yorktown, Mountaineer General Dan Morgan in command. The colonial forces included many from the mountain area. This was the battle used for the movie The Patriot. Where the Betsy Ross flag was shown in error, the colonists gave the British a devil of a whooping. Please post the Cowpens flag. Our next flag is the Star-Spangled Banner, the 15-star flag. The Star-Spangled Banner. This flag became the official flag on May 1st, 1795. 2 stars and 2 stripes were added to recognize the admission of Vermont and Kentucky. It was to last for 23 years until 1818. This was the only U.S. flag to have 13 stripes. It was immortalized by Francis Scott Key during the bombardment of Fort McHenry in Maryland on 13th September 1814. Please post the Stars and Stripes banner flag. Our next flag is the 20-star flag. Back to 13 stripes. It was recognized there should only be 13 stripes for the 13 original colonies and 1 star for each new state. In 1818, for Tennessee, Ohio, Louisiana, Indiana, and Mississippi were approved with 13 stripes and 20 stars. Please post the 20-star flag. Our next flag is the 48-star flag. On the 24th of June, 1912, for the first time, the national flag was to be standardized with specific proportions, stars, and colors, according to an executive order signed by President Taft. The 14-star flag became our national emblem on July 4th, 1912, and it was in place until July 4th, 1959. Many major events occurred in our country during that time, including World War I, World War II, Korea, the Great Depression of the 1930s, and of course the development and the execution of the atomic bomb. There are some of those in attendance, I'm sure here, that remember the 48-star flag. Please post the 48-star flag. I got the- Okay, so there was one flag that we didn't have represented today, and that was the 26 star flag. By 1837, there would be 26 stars for Illinois, Alabama, Maine, Missouri, Arkansas, and Michigan. Our final flag is the 50-star flag. On the 49th star for Alaska was signed and approved on January 3rd, 1958. It should be noted that legislation indicates that new states are brought in on the next July 4th or July 4th, 1959. Hawaii became the 50th state July 4th, 1960. Thus, the United States officially had 48 stars until July 4th, 1959. Many in Alaska disagree. Recall the TV show Hawaii Five-0. Many events have occurred during the 50-star flag, including Vietnam, the Middle East Wars, and of course 9/11. Please post the 50-star flag. Thank you very much.
And now for the presentation of the flag of the United States of America by Mr. Charles Neighbor Smith, a World War II veteran who was in the European theater from 1943 to 1945. He is accompanied by Mr. Richard Erskine of Post 4299. Please advance the flag to the front of the stage. All rise, please. I am the flag of the United States of America. I was born on 14 June 1977 in Philadelphia. There, the Continental Congress adopted my Stars and Stripes as the national flag. My 13 stripes, alternating red and white with a union of 13 white stars in a field of blue, represented a new constellation, a new nation, dedicated to the personal and religious liberty of mankind. Today, 50 stars signal from my union, one for each of the 50 sovereign states in the greatest constitution. Post the flag here, please. Richard. My colors signal from my union, one for each of the 50 sovereign states in the greatest constitutional republic the world has ever known. My colors symbolize the patriotic ideals and spiritual qualities of the citizens of this country. My red stripes proclaim the fearless courage and integrity of American service members, the sacrifice and devotion of American service members' families. My white stripes stand for liberty and equality for all. The blue is the blue of heaven, loyalty, and faith. I represent these eternal principles: liberty, justice, and humanity. I embody American freedom, freedom of speech, religion, assembly, the press, and the sanctity of the home. I typify that indomitable spirit of determination brought to my land by Christopher Columbus and by all my forefathers, the Pilgrims, the Puritans, the settlers at Jamestown and Plymouth. I am as old as my nation. I am a living symbol of my nation's law, the Constitution of the United States, and the Bill of Rights. I voice Abraham Lincoln's philosophy, a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. I stand guard over my nation's schools, seedbed of good citizenship and true patriotism. I am displayed in every schoolroom throughout my nation Every schoolyard has a flagpole for my display. Daily, thousands upon thousands of boys and girls pledge their allegiance to me and my country. I have my own law, Public Law 829, the Flag Code, which definitively states my correct use and display for all occasions and situations. I have my special day, Flag Day, June the 14th, is set aside to honor my birth. Americans, I am sacred emblem of your country. I symbolize your birthright, your heritage of liberty, purchased with blood and sorrow. I am your title deed to freedom, which is yours to enjoy and hold in trust for posterity. If you fail to keep this sacred trust inviolate, if I am nullified and destroyed, you and your children will become slaves to dictators and despots. Eternal vigilance is your freedom of price of freedom. As you see me silhouetted against the peaceful skies of my country, remind yourself that I am the flag of your country, that I stand for what you are, no more, no less. Guard me well, lest your freedom perish from the earth. Dedicate your lives to those principles for which I stand. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I was created in freedom. I made my first appearance in a battle for human liberty. God grant that I may spend eternity in my land of the free and home of the brave, that I shall forever be known as Old Glory, the flag of the United States of America.